Okay, so get ready for this. We're going deep on a world where the moon, get this, is as big as the Earth in the sky.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We found this speculative piece that looks at what that would actually mean, like what would happen. And it covers, like, everything. Politics to culture to the environment.
Right.
Wow. Crazy.
It's pretty wild. I mean, just the scale of the change is really what gets me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, one change to the stuff that's up there could rewrite, like, everything about life down here.
Totally.
Makes you kind of, like, question where we even fit in, you know, in the big picture.
Yeah. I'm already feeling kind of small just thinking about it.
Yeah,
but, okay, let's try to, like, break this down.
Okay.
If the moon, like, suddenly became this massive thing in the sky.
Right.
Wouldn't every country on Earth want a piece of it?
I mean, it's not even wanting it, it's needing it at that point. You know? Control of the moon basically means power in this scenario.
Yeah.
Like, this piece is saying we'd see countries scrambling for territory up there, a total space race all over again, but for resources and who knows what else.
Oh, man.
Like, imagine what that would do to something like the Outer Space Treaty.
Right, forget about it.
Yeah.
Be like, my moon base is bigger than yours at the UN.
Exactly.
Total chaos.
Global chaos.
But beyond, like, all the political stuff, what would a moon that size even do to, like, our everyday life?
Well, first of all, say goodbye to dark nights.
Really?
The moon would be so bright.
Wow.
It'd be almost like daylight all the time.
Oh.
So that changes everything, how animals act to, like, how we sleep.
Oh, wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Our myths, religions, even our art would all be reshaped by this, like, giant moon hanging over us.
So it's like, instead of good night moon, it's good morning, noon, and night moon. I bet those, like, lunar gods and stuff would be getting a lot more attention.
Oh, for sure.
But wouldn't there be, like, some good stuff, too?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wouldn't space travel be a lot easier?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This piece actually says that trips to the moon could be as common as, like, international flights are now weekend trip to the moon. Totally possible in this scenario.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, you get lunar cities, mining, maybe even space tourism.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Like hotels on the moon.
Think about it.
Zero gravity spas.
Why not?
That's where we're headed.
I mean, the possibilities kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
But we got to be real. There's challenges, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Building and living on the moon, even if it is closer, would be really tough.
What do you mean?
We'd need to figure out, like, incredible new ways to do things. Like how to deal with the radiation, how to make sure we have enough air and water, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be a huge challenge.
So it's more than just building houses on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about making, like, entire environments that can keep people alive in space.
Exactly. We're talking, like, super advanced life support.
Wow.
New ways to make power. Maybe even growing food up there.
On the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is those technologies could help us back here on Earth, too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, make things more sustainable.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. But wouldn't all that lunar development be super expensive?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, this piece talks about mining stuff on the moon.
Like what?
Like helium-3.
What's that?
It's this potential fuel for future power plants.
Wow.
And rare earth elements.
Oh, right, yes.
Which are used in all kinds of tech. So the moon could be a gold mine, basically.
A moon rush.
Yeah, a moon rush.
But wouldn't that, like, raise a ton of ethical questions?
Of course.
Like, who owns all that stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This piece dives into that whole thing, saying we'd need totally new agreements, probably huge arguments about who gets what, how to protect the environment up there,
right?
Maybe even, like, exploitation.
Ugh, yeah.
It's complicated.
It sounds like things would get pretty messy.
For sure.
But let's, like, bring it back down to Earth for a second.
Okay.
What about the impact on, like, our planet?
Right.
I mean, wouldn't the tides go nuts with a moon that close?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This piece is talking about drastic environmental changes.
Really?
A moon with Earth's mass would have a way stronger gravitational pull. So, yeah, the tides would be insane.
Like, how insane?
We're talking, like, massive coastal flooding.
Whoa.
Maybe even, like, reshaping coastlines entirely.
So forget beachfront property. We're talking, like, underwater cities.
It's possible.
Oh.
And that's not even all of it. The ocean currents would be messed up too.
Oh, man.
The piece says that could totally disrupt the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then like a domino effect on weather patterns.
Oh, wow.
Basically a whole different climate.
Mm.
So yeah, this giant moon, it'd be a blessing and a curse. Yeah. It'd push us to our limits figuring out how to survive and adapt.
But wouldn't all this chaos also be like a huge opportunity for science?
Oh, totally. Yeah. A moon that close would be like a scientific gold mine.
Oh, so...
Imagine the research we could do, like on the moon's geology, how it formed, maybe even finding new resources.
Right.
Learning about the history of the whole solar system.
Wow.
It'd be incredible.
What about, like, astronomy?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't a moon base be the perfect place to, like, look at the stars?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No atmosphere to get in the way.
Right.
We could see deeper into space than ever before.
Wow, so the moon would be like our launch pad for exploring the rest of the universe.
It's a stepping stone to Mars and beyond.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think about how one change can change our understanding of everything.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Totally.
About where we fit in, what's possible.
Yeah.
It challenges everything we think we know. But hey, before we go too deep into the future of humanity, I think we should take a closer look at what life on this giant moon would actually be like.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so after the break,
we'll
be back to explore the realities of living in a world with a moon as big as Earth.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back.
Back at it.
And we're still in this world
still here.
Where the moon is like this giant thing in the sky.
That's a moon, yeah.
And last time, we were about to actually like step foot on this moon.
Right.
See what it would be like to live there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to talk about lunar bases and all that, but to really imagine people living there every day, that's where it gets really interesting.
So like paint me a picture.
Okay.
What would it be like to wake up
all right, so
in a lunar city?
You wake up in your lunar habitat.
Okay.
And the first thing you see is Earth.
Whoa.
This huge blue and green sphere just dominating the sky.
That's got to be like an incredible view.
Oh, absolutely breathtaking. And even just moving around would feel different.
Really? Why?
Lower gravity.
Oh, right.
You'd feel lighter. Like every step would be different.
Ah, interesting.
And your whole day would be shaped by the moon's environment.
Like how?
You'd have to be careful with resources.
Yeah, makes sense.
And a lot of people would probably be focused on research.
So everyone on the moon would be a scientist?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Remember we talked about space tourism?
Yeah, the lunar vacations.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So the piece is saying that with a moon that close, space tourism would be huge.
So, like...
You could have lunar hotels.
Okay.
Guided tours of craters and stuff.
Yep.
Maybe even low-gravity sports.
Lunar Olympics.
Exactly.
I would totally watch that.
Right.
But, okay, let's be real for a second.
Yeah.
Wouldn't living on the moon, even with all the cool stuff, be kind of dangerous?
Oh, for sure.
What about, like, the radiation?
Right.
And there's no air to breathe?
Those are big challenges, yeah.
Yeah.
The piece talks about that a lot.
Right.
Like, lunar habitats would need serious radiation shielding. And you couldn't just go outside without a special suit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you know what? These challenges could actually lead to some amazing new tech.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it'd push us to innovate.
So it's more than just, like, building moon houses.
Oh, yeah.
It's about creating, like, whole ecosystems that can survive in space.
Exactly. Okay. Like advanced life support systems, figuring out how to make energy on the moon. Maybe even growing food up there.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right. It'd be incredible.
I'm starting to see how this giant moon could, like, push us to do things we haven't even thought of yet.
Absolutely.
But let's zoom out for a minute.
Okay.
What about the moon's gravity? What would all that extra gravity do to Earth?
That's a huge question.
Yeah.
This piece is saying it could really change things up.
Like how?
Geologically, I mean, more earthquakes, maybe volcanoes erupting more often.
Whoa. That's not good.
No. It would be a big deal.
What would that mean for our cities?
We'd have to adapt, build things differently.
Earthquake-proof cities.
Basically, yeah.
Man, this is getting intense.
It's a lot to think about.
But wouldn't all that geological activity make the moon itself like a really cool place to study?
It would be a geologist's dream come true.
Really?
Think about it.
Yeah.
We could learn so much about how planets form, how gravity works, maybe even discover new stuff.
Like what?
New minerals, new resources. It'd be like having another planet right next door.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got leaner cities,
right?
Extreme tourism, groundbreaking science.
Yeah.
A planet that's constantly changing.
It's a lot.
It is.
It really is.
What else would this giant moon change about? Like life as we know it.
Remember how we talked about the moon's brightness?
Yeah, like it would be almost daylight all the time.
Right. Well, the piece also talks about how that could affect plants.
Really? Oh.
Plants need the cycle of day and night to grow properly.
Yeah.
So if it's always bright, that could mess things up.
For, like, all plants?
Yeah, it could affect agriculture.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It is.
So we'd have to, like, change how we farm.
We might have to maybe grow food in, like, indoor farms with artificial light. Or even, like, engineer new crops.
Crops that can grow in moonlight.
Exactly. Crops that don't need as much sunlight.
That's crazy.
It's wild to think about.
This whole thing with the giant moon is really making me realize how everything is connected.
It is. Everything's intertwined.
Yeah, like we're not just talking about changes to the moon or even Earth.
It's bigger than that.
It's a fundamental shift in how life itself works.
Exactly. It shows how delicate the balance is. You change one thing and it affects everything else.
So, okay, we've covered a lot.
We have.
Lunar cities, space tourism, scientific discoveries, earthquakes and volcanoes, glowing plants, even moon farming.
It's mind-boggling.
It really is. It's clear that this one change would affect, like, every single part of life.
Every aspect, for sure.
But what about, like, our minds?
What do you mean?
Like, how would this giant moon affect our culture, our art?
Oh, that's fascinating.
Even our understanding of, like, who we are as humans?
This piece goes into that a bit.
Okay, what does it say?
It says, imagine living with this massive moon always there in the sky. It would definitely inspire awe. Or wonder, maybe even a little fear.
Right.
It would make us question everything.
Like what?
Our place in the universe, our beliefs, you know? It would change how we express ourselves.
They're like...
Our art would be different.
Yeah.
Our music, our literature.
It would be like a whole new era. Where the moon is like this central theme.
The moon would be everywhere.
Wow.
In our paintings, our sculptures, our music, everything.
It's like this giant moon would become like a part of us.
A part of our culture, definitely.
Woven into our identity.
Exactly. It would change our whole perspective.
On like what's beautiful.
Yeah, on reality itself.
Yeah.
On what it means to be human.
In this crazy, huge universe.
In a universe bigger and more mysterious than we can imagine.
This is all so mind-blowing.
It is, right.
But before we get too lost in space, I think we should bring our deep dive back down to Earth.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
So we've explored what life might be like on the moon.
We have.
And how things would change here on Earth.
Right.
But there's one more thing to think about.
What's that?
How would this giant moon affect the future of, like, all of humanity?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is, and that's what we'll be talking about when we come back for the final part of our deep dive into a world with a moon as big as Earth.
Sounds good.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're back.
Back again.
Still wrapping our heads around this world with a moon the size of Earth.
It's a big one.
It is. It's huge.
Huge.
And we've talked about, like, life on the moon, the crazy changes here on Earth.
Right.
But now I'm thinking about, like, the really long-term stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How would this giant moon change the future of humanity?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it?
It is.
Like we talked about countries maybe fighting over resources on the moon.
Yeah, the whole moon rush thing.
Right. But what about how it would change things here on Earth?
What do you mean?
Like our relationships with each other, between countries.
Oh, okay.
A moon that close and easy to get to.
Yeah.
It would change how we think about borders, national identity, even power.
That's a whole other level.
It is. It's huge. Our governments right now, they're all based on the idea of countries on one planet.
Right.
How would that work when we're all competing for space on another one?
Yeah, that's a good question.
This piece suggests some pretty wild possibilities.
Like what?
Like, maybe we'd have to create completely new political systems. Maybe even, like, a United Nations of Space or something.
A UN for the moon.
Yeah, something like that to manage everything up there.
Wow.
And then the balance of power on Earth could shift, too.
You mean?
Like, the countries with the best space programs, they'd have a huge advantage.
Right, they'd control the moon.
They could basically become the new superpowers.
That's kind of scary.
It is. There's a lot of potential for things to go wrong.
Like what?
Like inequality between countries, even within societies.
Right, the countries they can't keep up.
Exactly, they'd get left behind.
So this giant moon, it's like it brings out the best and worst in us.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Yeah, like our drive to explore and discover, but also our greed and our tendency to fight.
It's all amplified.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is.
Makes you wonder. Like, what does it even mean to be human when we can reach beyond our own planet?
That's a big question, and I think it's at the heart of this whole piece.
So it's not just about the science.
No, it's about who we are.
Or who we could become.
Exactly. It's about how this one change could make us rethink everything.
Imagine looking up at the sky every night.
Yeah.
And seeing this giant moon.
It'd be hard to ignore.
It would make you feel...
small.
Yeah, small, but also...
connected.
Yeah, connected to something bigger.
To the universe.
It would give you some perspective.
Definitely. Like, all our problems down here...
Yeah.
They might start to seem a little less important.
Maybe it would help us to...
work together.
Yeah, to cooperate, to focus on the things that really matter.
It's possible, right? When you're faced with something that big, it changes your priorities.
So even with all the chaos, this giant moon
could actually bring us together.
It could make us more enlightened.
More connected.
More aware of our place in the universe.
It's a powerful idea.
It is.
And it shows how, like, thinking about these what-if scenarios, it can really help us understand ourselves better.
And the world around us.
Exactly. It pushes us to think outside the box.
To imagine things we never thought possible.
And to appreciate the wonder of it all.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
We get to explore all these crazy ideas.
The what-ifs.
Yeah, and see where they take us.
It's a journey.
It is. And in this one, we've journeyed to a world transformed by a giant moon.
We've seen the challenges.
The possibilities.
The beauty.
And the danger.
It's been a wild ride.
It has.
And even though we don't have all the answers, one thing's for sure.
What's that?
This thought experiment, it's made us think.
It's challenged us.
And it's left us with a sense of wonder.
About the universe.
And our place in it.
Well said.
Thanks.
And on that note, that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed exploring this incredible world.
This world with a giant moon.
With us.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time,
keep looking up.
And keep asking those big questions.